and additional work. So first and foremost, I want to acknowledge the land on which we're running this workshop today for the Larrakia Nation. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. For those that don't know me, hello, my name is Gabrielle, aka Gabs. I've recently started my own consulting business called Gift of the Gab Consulting. So I've been in the tourism industry for 17 plus years. I've been a buyer, seller. Most of you would probably recognise me from working at Tourism TEP for just shy of 7 years. The reason why I've come in today and I'm qualified to run this workshop, twofold. I work quite close with the team at Tourism Top End. So we do have the team online monitoring questions. So if you do have any questions coming through, please pop them in the chat. With my time at Tourism NT, I also worked quite close with the team at NT Business Events. So I have Jamie, Michelle and Beck in the room from NTBE. So they're the experts in this area. They live and breathe Northern Territory business events. So any hard-hitting questions, we'll hand over to those guys. But yeah, I'm super excited because my background comes from working at Flight Centre and their groups department and organising business events itineraries around Australia and the world. I'm also on a committee called Fab Alice that works with that amazing event happening in Alice Springs in March. Plus, I also used to organise the Northern Territory's largest tourism event in Australia, NT Muster. So I've definitely spent my time learning about this industry and I'm so excited to bring it to you today. So today we're going to go through a few things and I understand that you're probably only going to retain about 10% of what we're going to discuss today. Please, don't worry about that. We're going to hand around some resources, so we'll email it out after the chat today. But a few things that I really wanted to tackle in this workshop is looking at the Northern Territory being on an even playing field with our competition. That business events is a high-spending traveller that comes to the NT. When we have business events come up, we often have people who wish to stay on longer, revisit with families. And of course, it's a really great way for us to build key relationships and attracting more investment into the territory. So let's get started by looking into leisure versus business. And just really quickly, one more thing. I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for joining us today. We have so many people from all walks of life within the business events world. We have people joining us today that are brand new and really are beginners. And then we've got some advanced companies that are joining us. So for those who are advanced in the world of business events, you may know a lot of this information, but hopefully there are quite a few light bulb moments that you can take away. So leisure tourism, let's get started. When we talk about leisure tourism, usually the type of traveller that we look at is family-based, couples, FIT. Usually that traveller will base their travel experiences on seasonality or things like school holidays. The activities that they tend to do are recreational based. That tends to be something that they're excited about. Could be cultural, could be sightseeing, could be shopping. So it's really broad when it comes to the leisure-based activities. Accommodation style is also quite varied. They could be camping around Australia or relaxing by a pool, even glamping, which is quite popular, and of course staying at hotels. And the economic impact tends to work within the local economies. So making sure that our restaurants are leveraging off the leisure traveller, making sure activities are benefiting from the leisure traveller. Even your local supermarkets will benefit. Whereas when we look at business events travel, once again, it's that focus on coming to the Northern Territory or travelling for a business event that is based on a professional reason to go to that destination. So with business travellers, they tend to have shorter stays in destination and aren't as affected by seasonality. The activities that they come forward tend to be more meetings focused, conference focused, exhibitions. So the travel type is for that professional purpose. The accommodation tends to be close proximity to wherever that conference or meeting is held. And also accommodation styles, they tend to look for accommodation that, of course, has the availability, as well as having some kind of meeting space and generally some AV requirements as well. And the business impact tends to be double the economic impact, even though it's a shorter stay. So where do we fit in with the Northern Territory business events? So the government put forward the 2030 strategy back in 2019, and this strategy gets revised every couple of years. Overall in tourism, the Northern Territory wants to hit $5.3 billion in expenditure. NTBE's role as part of that, and this, as I mentioned, is under revision on a constant basis. But at this stage, they're estimated to hit a target of $68 million by 2030. Where are they sitting today? Well, the team has worked very hard. In the past year, they've influenced a conversion of 77 business events. And what we mean by influenced is these 77 business events, they were pretty much in competition with going to another destination. So these guys worked hard to make sure that that business came to the NT. And from that, we have an expenditure of $49 million in delegate expenditure. So how is this team working to get the 77 conversions, the $49 million in expenditure? So first of all, we've got to look at what the business event space is. So I found out I'm a little bit old school. I think that comes from the flight centre mentality. I was still using the terminology MICE. For those that have been in the industry for a while, you might have heard the acronym of MICE, which essentially stands for Meetings, Incentives, Corporates and Events, or Conferences and Exhibitions. The reason why we're moving away from that, especially in Australia, is because business events is so broad and there's so many more categories that fall under the business events space. But internationally, in places like Asia, MICE is still popular terminology. That's why, with my old school mentality, I've kept it in today. So just to go through just a few of those categories. So meetings is generally a single day event. Usually we'll need some kind of AV tech and some catering. Not much entertainment goes on with a meeting. Incentives tend to be a little bit more fun. High spend, luxury traveller. Usually it's something that's set up by a company to reward their staff. Conferences are like a supersized meeting, tend to go for a couple more days, including things like panel discussions, presentations, etc. May or may not have an entertainment aspect. Generally, we'll have some kind of theming that goes on at a conference. And exhibitions is where, and I'm sure most of you have been to meetings, incentives, or conferences and exhibitions, but an exhibition is generally where a product will have a booth set up so they can showcase what they do. And I also want to touch on the event space. Sorry for the guys in the room. I know it's covered on the screen there, but with the event space, that's drawing in things like awards nights or a new product that's to be launched. So the business events industry, of course, wouldn't succeed without these three categories. So first of all, we have our industry suppliers. So that's pretty much everybody that's on the workshop today, from your travel accommodation, of course, even airlines, getting the people into destination, your venues, your event suppliers, AV, theming, etc. But to bring these, for us to have that work in the business event space, we of course need the clients that come up here. So we're going to go into the client side of things a little bit later. And then the great news is we're so wonderfully supported by our government agency with NTBE, who work really hard with some financial benefits, which they'll go through a bit down the track as well, talking about what they do to make sure we have that competitive edge, bringing in the business to the Northern Territory. A few other things that they do is they go to domestic and international trade shows. This is to reconnect with existing businesses or clients that we bring to the NT, but also to bring in that new business to the Northern Territory. There is a focus on a few key sectors that you guys can see on the screen: health, agribusiness, etc. The idea here, and it's not to limit it to these industries, I'll definitely work with other industries as well. But the idea here, and correct me if I'm wrong, NTBE team, is to hopefully have a flow-on effect one day where these guys come over for this business event, see that the Northern Territory is pretty cool, and then decide to move or branch out and have a hub that's based here, which in an overall effect is going to help support our economy.
It's also aligning with particular leaders in those sectors. So if we can leverage off like NT cattlemen, NT farmers, if we have a leading health researcher or doctor, we can talk to them and go, hey, can you help us bring this event to the Territory? It just gives us more credibility and it gives us a really nice link and helps us to attract that business as well. So,
oh, that's brilliant. And also ways that they showcase the destination. So we do this in a twofold way, and we'll probably touch on this a fair bit. So the first way they showcase the destination is by families. So this is where they've got clients who may potentially be interested in the destination, or potentially the Northern Territory is not on their radar at all. The NTBE team will reach out to these guys, invite them up so they can have firsthand experience about what the destination is all about. And it really builds up that awareness, which ideally will turn into conversion. Another thing that they do is what's called a site inspection. So this is for someone who's a little bit further on in their journey. Basically, it's like we've basically got them across the line. It's just we bring them up to showcase really how an itinerary can look like. And that usually seals the deal from what I've heard with the team. And yes, we still have that competitive advantage where the team has that grant funding, that financial support, which we'll go into a bit later. And then I can't see what my last slide says. They are awesome products just because I've got a blockage on the screen. Yeah, and of course we have you guys, the awesome products that keep the business events industry alive. And we're always looking to evolve and work with more products to ensure that there's experiences on offer. So you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, I'm learning little bits and pieces. You're probably looking at the size of what a business event is, knowing that incentives is generally a little bit smaller, your conferences are a little bit larger. So you probably ask questions like, can I offer food and beverage packages? Is my venue easily accessible for larger groups? Can my product partner with other businesses to benefit business events? Is my product appealing to business events? Do I need to change things to work with business events? Does my venue have capacity? So it's great to ask these questions. And I thought we'd play a little bit of a game. So, for those playing at home, feel free to yell out at your computer screen. For those playing in the room, feel free to jump in. But I just thought I'd bring up a couple of examples of some businesses that may or may not qualify as a business event. Once again, making sure that we're relating it back to a professional experience. So first one, what do you guys think? I can offer catering for large groups of people. Do you think I can be involved with business events? Yes, that's great. Thank you. Yes, we had some yeses in the room. 100%. There are so many ways catering companies can come in. You can work with hotels if they don't, because there are quite a few hotels that don't have their own internal restaurant. If your space has, if your venue has enough space, you can host dinners there as well. So definitely look at getting into the business event space if you're a catering company. I'm a venue that focuses solely on weddings. You guys think they can be involved? Oh, I love that, Gavin. Perfect. The answer is no. It's essentially, if you're solely focused on weddings, but there's no reason why you can't look to pivot, why you can't look at changing, because weddings are traditionally on weekends. I'm sure we all agree with that. So if there's an event that's going on in the weekday, there's no reason why you can't pivot and work in that business event space. This one's a bit grey. So I'm a tour with a 21-seater air-conditioned bus. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a yes, you know, perfect for your incentives. Often, especially when these guys are hosting for meals, they're hosting for meals for approximately 15, anywhere from 15 to 30 packs. And, you know, also great to work in collaboration with other businesses. You never know, there might be a transfer company, as an example, that needs another vehicle to come along. There's the reason why I bring this up, and I know this doesn't relate to everybody's business, but this is just ways to start thinking outside of the box about how your business can work in with the business events model. So I'm pretty excited to announce that our next workshop that we'll be running in March will be based around product development for business events. So if you're still sitting on the edge and you're not sure if your business does work within the business events world, we'll go through a bit of a checklist. We'll see what we can do to build your product in this space. And, you know, I think the collaboration space, especially if you are a smaller operator, the collaboration space is really wonderful to work in as well. So stay tuned. Early March, we'll be doing that one. But if, you know, you're starting to look at this and you're like, oh, okay, my product really, yeah, you're either a yes, I can totally leverage off working within the business event space, or if your product may not be suited, you could still be selected for pre and post touring. So pre and post touring is basically you've got your conference for a set amount of dates, and you might have an individual that wants to come up a little bit earlier, stay on a little bit later. So there's a couple ways that's done by the client. The individual traveller might organise that themselves. It may be the client that offers it through their programs, or it could be a mixture of both, where the client and the traveller, the client may offer some trips up earlier, and then the traveller may want to stay on. So how can you get involved on this pre and post tour side of things, and really staying front of mind with the NTB team in general? So the biggest thing that I think is integral is making sure you stay, and I'll get the girls on screen a little bit later, but making sure you stay in contact with the NT Business Events team. Really being front of mind is so integral. We all know this, living in the territory, we're very much a networking destination. So this could include things like, if you've never connected with the team, just simply saying hello, telling them about your product, doing a product update, keeping an eye on industry updates, and making sure you're attending the networking events. We're very fortunate that the Australian Bureau, I'm saying that wrong, and Australian ABEA, yep. Australian Business Events Association, exists up here in the Northern Territory, which gets a lot of like-minded businesses together in that business event space. So it's going along to those those networking events to also collaborate as well with other businesses. And say you're an accommodation provider and you've worked in this space for a long time, but you notice that you haven't been included on a famil in a little while, invite the team out to your property and make sure that they can see what you can do and what you can provide to that business event. And just a little suggestion, if you do invite them out, maybe do something a little bit theatrical so they can really see what you can do with that space. Other ways that you can make sure that you're working and being front of mind or being built into this pre and post. I call it I Spy. Just keep an eye on what's going on in the industry. Jump onto events pages such as the ones that are run by Tourism Top End and TMEC. See what's going on and see if you can leverage in any way from those events that are coming to the territory. If your product is the right fit, definitely connect with the NTB team so your product can be loaded on their landing page. That way your product is also getting more exposure. And even though you may not have the availability for a large conference, that client will still see your product and might be able to recommend your experience as a pre or post tour.
Sorry, can I just jump in for 1 second?
Yeah, go for it.
So when Gab spoke before about our 77 converted events. So every event that we convert for Darwin, Jamie is connected to that client and she introduces them straight to Tourism Top End. So Tourism Top End is definitely working to promote your products to our clients. And if they get funding, we actually say to them they need to show evidence that they've promoted pre and post touring to their delegates. So we are working really closely with Tourism Top End to make sure that we are doing what we can to really extend that, to extend the delegate stay, increase their average length of stay, but also that they pre-plan and book their tours in as they're booking their conference registration in. So I just wanted to let everyone know that.
Yeah, perfect. And that's a huge reason why this workshop today, we've got NTB in and it's being run by Tourism Top End, because it's about this wonderful collaboration, making sure that we're both benefiting from that, the business events that are coming into town, especially within the realm of pre and post touring. Awesome. And also, guys, just a few other things, like you can network direct with the clients as well. You don't always have to do everything via the NTBE team. You can reach out and just make sure you're staying front of mind as well with the clientele, which we'll get into now. So who's who in the zoo? So I won't read out everything but I will share the information about the various different kind of clients that we can work with. I dare say the two most popular that the NTBE team works with are professional conference organisers. And yes, there are a lot of acronyms in the world of tourism in general, but also in business events. So professional conference organisers, also known as PCOs, are organisations that are approached by companies to help organise and put their event together. A destination management, or DMC, also will have that same approach. The difference between the two, a DMC will always be in the location or have that really in-depth product knowledge, whereas a PCO could be based, say, in Sydney and organising an event for the Northern Territory. That's really the difference between the two. So we've got a couple others in here. You're an association management company. So this is another company that works with associates to work on those events coming to destination, whereas your associate planner is someone who's generally internal that puts together the event and ideally would approach the business events team or products direct. We also have what's called an incentive house. So this is an external company that usually puts together itineraries based around that incentive travel market. And then you've got your in-house meeting planner. These guys are based internally within organisations that will also coordinate those events. There's still a lot more that fit under the channels of who you could work with in this world of NTBE. So it's not limited to this. This is just to give you an example of some of the clients that we would work with. So I think that's enough from me for the moment. So I'm going to hand you guys over to the experts in this area, the NTBE team, where they're going to go through a little bit more about what they do. And also the trade shows they attend, and ideally some top tips. So I think
you not change that title.
NTBE's top tips.
Oh, that's
yeah. So I'm going to introduce you to Beck, the director of NTBE.
Let's
go
see
back.
if we can
Can you
see
go back
it. I'll go forward.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gab. That's a really good overview of the business events sector. We're pretty. Oh, did we introduce ourselves? We did. No.
I shouldn't get you on camera.
You can. Are we all?
Oh, yeah.
Are
Okay.
we all on? Yeah. Sorry, I should do introductions. So yeah, my name's Beck. I head up the team at business events, and you can introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm based in Darwin and look after international bidding and our business event support fund.
I'm Jamie. I'm based in Darwin as well. I look after our site visits and site inspections, so I see a lot of you all the time, as well as supporting all our confirmed clients with industry partner contacts and things like that, as well as being a support for our industry partners as well that have any questions about things happening.
So we have a go back to that slide. Yeah, we have
Sorry.
there's more of us. It's not just the three of us. We have a team of 10. We're geographically dispersed. So I'm actually based in Melbourne. we've got 3 people based in our Sydney office, 4 are based in Darwin, and 2 people based in Alice Springs. So our online communication skills are exceptional. But I mean, communication is important regardless. So we're a small team. Again, I'm pretty biased, and we do, well, I can't take any credit, but the team does punch well above its weight. We're a little bit, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with convention bureaus, but there's around 17 convention bureaus across Australia. And they are all mostly modelled on a membership system, and more of a commercial model, and receive funding from their local governments, state governments, and their membership revenue. We are a bit of an anomaly. We sit, as that slide says, within the wholly in government in the state tourism organisation. So we don't have members as such. We are impartial, and we're here to support the entire industry. In saying that, we do have to funnel, I guess, who we work with to a degree, because we do have client briefs that we need to meet. So to Gab's earlier slides, it is very much about making sure your product is suitable for the business events market. This is great that you're all here today to get an understanding and to determine whether it's something that you do want to play in. We do deliver quite a lot of activity, which often requires a level of qualification to participate in, purely because there's often an investment required, and we don't want you to invest if you're not going to get the returns. So there's quite a few things to consider. And I think the next workshop that you're doing will probably help you to determine whether this is a space that you want to play in. We are a very active team, very commercially focused, but again, we sit within government, and then we've got a lot of stakeholders as well. So we're always balancing government priorities with clients' requirements, and obviously stakeholders. We're very aware of that, very aware of the fact that we're spending taxpayer dollars, and every dollar we spend, we ideally generate a return. We have ongoing funding, which is the benefit of not being a member-based organisation and sitting in government. We're very fortunate in that regard. We have got ongoing operational personnel funding, and then we have a bid fund, which Michelle can talk about shortly. Gab's touched on some of the activity we deliver for mills and site inspections. You'll probably touch on those in other workshops.
Yeah, we'll go more in
those.
depth in those and what the varieties are, etc.
Yeah.
Because you'll have some coming up throughout the year. So once you feel your product can work with the business event space, that's where, we can even in those workshops start having that conversation to see if you qualify to actually be showcased in the FMILs that the NTB team runs.
We do issue an annual prospectus, which includes all of our activity, our in-market activity, which is our trade events, and then our in-destination activity, which is our FMILs. That's coming out very soon, in the next week. And again, Gab's touched on the supplier listing. So if you determine that business events is for you and you'd like to play in that space, we would highly encourage you to get in touch with us, and we can create a supplier listing for you on our website. Our website is very much geared toward the marketplace, our audience. It's more for clients to come on and look at what we've got to offer. It's quite it's a aesthetically pleasing website, and we don't put all of everything on there, because the idea is that we want clients to engage with us as well, so we can understand their needs, tailor our response. And I think it was mentioned earlier, business events is a very relationships-based industry. It can take again, in contrast to leisure, business events can take years to convert. We currently have a conference for 2032 that we're working on. So it's like the Olympics. I compare it to the Olympics. It's a really slow burn. You've got to have a lot of patience. So again, if you're new to this market, it's really different to the holiday market. It's relationships, it's nurturing, it takes a lot of time, it takes investment. So I'm just laying all this out so that everyone can understand whether it's for them. And we hope, that it is. We hope that, like Gab said, we do want more products. The more diverse product that we've got, the better our proposition is, our destination proposition is, because it's a really competitive environment domestically, and we play in international markets as well now. So we're all about we play to our strengths. So as well as those industry sectors that were touched on earlier, we lean into our iconic landscapes, our nature-based experiences, and our cultural engagement. There are three big USPs that we highlight, and it does help us stand out from the crowd. And I think I've talked enough, so you can touch on the bid fund if you like. Secret of Santa Maria.
Well, thanks Sam, TTE and Gabs for having us here today and included in this presentation. I just want to say one thing that Darwin does so well when we bring clients into the destination is the team approach, the Team Darwin approach. So we see it from people from Sydney and Melbourne. They're like, oh my God, everyone knows each other up here and they're friendly to each other. And they actually, if they can't do my business, they're like, go and see, Pina down the road, or go see Penny at Croc Cove. Like, we're always referring each other, and they're like, wow, in Sydney, they would never send me to a competitor. And I'm like, well, that's the territory. That's what we're about. We want people to actually have a good time here. So I think everyone in this room and online does an amazing job in that Team Darwin approach. But anyway, sorry. Business Event Support Fund. So in 2018, we were very lucky to have the NT Business Event Support Fund introduced. This is a way for us to competitively bid for business, because as Beck said, it's so competitive. Adelaide is flushed with cash. Perth also has lots of money. So if we see them come up in our competitor set, if we know that we're bidding for a conference and we see Adelaide and Perth, we know we're going to have to go a bit harder on our funding support, because we really want to win this business for the territory. So funding is available from $100 a delegate. Any business event planners that do apply need to apply when they're in the decision-making phase. So if it's already confirmed for the territory, they can't go, oh, can we actually apply for funding? It's too late, they're coming. Why do we need to give them money if they've already made that decision to come? This is a way for us to then, entice them, be competitive, use this as a strategic opportunity to see what money we need to give them in order to get this business to the territory. So, so I guess the first main thing is it can't be a confirmed event. It has to be made in the decision-making phase. Second thing is it can't be a brand new event. So unfortunately, it is government. It is taxpayers' dollars. We want to reduce the risk. So I guess we need to know that the event has got some historical data, that it's been run before, it has attracted some delegates before they can apply for the funding. Thirdly, more than 80% of their delegates need to come from outside the territory. So, and the reason why we have this is that, being that we do work for Tourism NT, our goal is to attract national and international visitation into the territory. So we want to see people flying in, we want to see people staying in our hotels, spending money in our economy. And not to say, I know interstate territory is huge. I used to live in Alice Springs for 7 years. I'd arguably say people from Alice spend more getting here than people from Sydney. But our goal is to get
bums on seats.
Bums on seats. Yeah, that's how Beck likes to say it. So, and I guess we're not here to support local events. We are here to support national and international events. So as long as more than 80% of the delegates are going to come from outside the territory, they would be eligible to apply for the event. For the event funding. Another thing that also helps with our application is that if it does align to one of our key sectors, so if it is like health, agribusiness, mining, oil and gas, been saying that, any event is going to provide a good ROI to the territory. So we're really happy to look at any applications. So I guess we really encourage you. I know that sometimes you might feel you might be a bit further down in that decision-making process. I know Penny always says, after they've chosen the destination and then they've looked at the, booking a convention centre or a hotel, then they're, looking at their accommodation. Oh, and then they start looking for their offsite dinners or their tours or, their gala dinners, welcome events, going to a museum, buying art, all those sorts of things that might be further down. But still, you might have someone that has come to you that potentially we haven't spoken to or the convention centre hasn't spoken to. And you might go, hold on, are you considering coming to the Territory? We do have this funding. Please encourage them to apply because this is going to help get business for you. It's going to help get business for everybody in this room. So it is a tool that we want people to help promote. It's minimum 10 delegates. So if it's a small corporate group, it could be a corporate retreat. It could be a small incentive group. It could even be a small meeting of a company from interstate that potentially could be coming to the Museum and Art Gallery and tea. They want to do a meeting there for there could be art people or museum goers or something. If they're traveling from interstate, they're looking at another destination, they could be eligible. And even if it's only a small group of 10, and yes, that's $1,000, that's still $1,000 that they could be spending on your experiences. So we highly encourage everybody in this room to promote that fund because it is here to support industry, convert business. So there are some guidelines around what they can spend the money on. So they can't use it for venue hire at a convention centre or a hotel, and they can't use it towards accommodation or flights. This is for them to use towards their gala dinners, their welcome functions, their AV, their exhibition space, their bus hire, technical tours, corporate gifts, speaker gifts. Like there's so many things that they can use it for. And we've heard it really supports the industry.
Yeah, and the entire supply.
So happy to speak to anyone about it and offline if they have any questions about it, but we highly encourage you to help promote it because this is a way for us to convert business. So yes.
Excellent. Jamie, do you want to I'm putting you on the spot. Do you want to just talk through, because your role is quite critical and you will be a first point of engagement for a lot of members we call industry partners in the room. Do you just want to talk a little bit about once the event is secured, the steps that
So I guess my main role is knowing what everyone can offer. So capacities, tours, if it's gifting or you want to break out into catering, like anything that you're offering that works in business events, we need to know about it. I'm really your main point of call, and then information shared with our whole team. Also with site inspections and stuff like that, it really helps when a client comes to me and we're going to host them in the destination. I instantly know venues are going to fit in. I know tours are the right capacity. I know people that can help with corporate gifting, anything like that. If we know about it, then we can offer it to our clients. As well as that, we'd love to get people listed on our website as well, because it's a main point of call for our confirmed conferences to head to there as well.
Yeah, great. And as I think Michelle mentioned earlier, once the conference is secured, Jamie will work with Tourism Top End. And then that's another, it's very much a partnership, collaboration. You've got multiple points of contact. We just want to build capacity and capability of the region to grow the value of business events. That's pretty much what it's all about.
A big thing we do with Tourism Top End is we connect our clients through to Gemma here as well. So part of a conference website, we get Gemma to create a landing page for them, and it can really promote them for pre and post touring, the tours that might fit, activities that they can fit. So it's also a really good thing as well that we do. And
it's working because we've just undertook some delegate surveying last year, and Sam saw the results earlier in the week, and we've had a 16% increase in delegates travelling to regional. So dispersing out into Kakadu and Litchfield and Katherine, Tiwi, Arnhem Land, and the length of stay has increased from 4.5 days to 5.8.
Wow.
So people less. Third thing was there are more people. Usually you might just travel by yourself for a conference, but there was less people traveling solo, indicating more bringing potentially family and friends. So it's all
collaboration is phenomenal.
Trending all the right way, and proves that this really valuable partnership with Tourism Top End is seeing results.
It's working.
We might just talk about that. Do you cover that partnership?
I haven't covered the partnership. No, not fully.
Yeah. Do I get Gemma to jump in and just talk about how that looks?
Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to come?
Great idea.
We did want this workshop to be a little bit of a forum
Yes,
today as
yeah.
well. So it's great that we've got so many wonderful people with us today.
Hi.
Over to you, Gemma.
Awesome
Be
invitation.
put on the spot, that's
I can share forward some examples of pages we've made prior. We've done everything from health conferences to smaller events. We're also working with Parramatta Eels at the moment. So it ranges from small to large. We basically put up a branded landing page on our website that we share the link to all conference delegates. It's got the conference branding, it's got operator product, any special offers that we possibly have at the time, and a lot of regional information. So it really depends on what the BE team and the conference believes going to be worthwhile hopping on the landing page for the delegates. Some really aren't going to have time to go out to Kakadu, so usually we'll maybe leave that off. Others are likely to spend up to a week pre or post. So then we'll have stuff like Litchfield, Kakadu, Wetlands, Catherine and South all available on the landing page as well. So we've got product in the city, we've got product outside of the city. Really just depends on how we make it for the particular conference and the group, and totally customizable. If you even have an event coming directly to you and you think they'd benefit from a pre and post landing page, we can do that as well. Not just for business events, for anything happening in town. So reach out if you need, and I'll share some examples later.
Yeah. Well, after the workshop, we'll share some information with, and this is great because this is why I love it.
And the offer,
Workshops.
and you talked about the offers, Gemma. So it'll be like, just as an example, say a buy 20 coffees, get one free offer's probably not gonna be so attractive because they're here for a limited amount of time. So just think about that if you are considering offers. Think about, that they are, like Gab's mentioned earlier, they're very much here for a limited time. They're probably in the conference all day, some of the evenings. So think about, if you look in the program and go, oh, they've got a couple of free nights, maybe, we can, or hours during the day. Very much tailor your offer. And the planners will very much appreciate that. Because especially the PCOs, because the less the PCO has to do, the happy they are. So any way we can add value to what is happening, it will be received really, really well with the planners, and hopefully make them come back again and again.
I can see we've got 2 chats coming through there, Jem. Did you want to just have a quick look to see what the questions are?
Here, Lee, from Skippers.
Yep.
Hi, we're holding 2 events on the 13th of July, 2024. If there's anyone that has tours to offer either side or would like to attend, give us a call or check out our website. We have interstate and rural NT attendees, and we ourselves have pre and post tours booked out.
Oh,
and there is a
brilliant.
link there as well.
And that's one thing after this workshop today as well, when we do send some information out, is just really seeing who wants to collaborate and who wants to get involved in other events. So that's great that Kiralee sent that through. Thank
We
you.
can share Kiralee's details with all the registration.
Right. Amazing. Awesome. And then I guess just to go through another integral part about what this team does is the trade shows that they attend. So you're happy to chat to that one, Beth?
Yep. I won't go into too much detail, but these are really important. They're a platform that bring, often we're referred to as sellers, and the planners can be referred to as buyers. They're platforms to bring both sides together and basically do business to business engagement. Face to face is always good. It was a bit challenging during COVID, but you can see there's a lot. There's a lot happening. Our next one is AIM, which stands for Asia Pacific Incentives Meetings Event. That is the largest business events trade show in the Southern Hemisphere. We've got some people in the room joining us at that, which is great. It's a way for us to take the Northern Territory to market. But again, touching on my earlier point, sound like a broken record, but it's a significant investment, which we subsidise to a degree, but it does require an investment from the partners that are attending. So it's the format is pre-scheduled appointments. So you meet with 32 buyers over the course of 2 days, attend networking events, and then ideally you come away from that show with some really strong leads. That's a very similar format to most of the other shows on the screen. IMEX Frankfurt is obviously, as it says, in Frankfurt. So the others are domestic shows, I think. There's a couple more international that we do. We have a really busy calendar of trade activity.
I think it's USA is on the screen. We just can't see it.
Oh, yeah, there's an IMEX USA as well. So, and we do most of the international activity in partnership with Tourism Australia, so we can leverage the Australia brand. It's a little bit like us here, being the Northern Territory brand, and all of our partners leveraging that. So we do a similar thing with Tourism Australia. Brand is super important. We've got a lot of work to do in international with raising awareness. Flight aviation is probably one of our biggest challenges, but that's, you know, we're having some wins there with some new routes on board. But yeah, if you do, again, decide that this is a market you want to play in, we're really happy to sit down, have a chat with you about whether any of these shows would be of a worthwhile investment for you. If potentially they're not, then we've got our in-destination activities where we bring those clients in. And again, that's just somewhere where you might offer up your product for them to experience, which, to be honest, can sometimes, well, not sometimes, often delivers a stronger conversion than potentially investing in a show, depending on where you're sitting in that decision-making, we call it the funnel, depending on where you're sitting in the in the funnel. But yeah, that's probably it.
Perfect.
Anything
These trade shows are so integral. I think we all know that saying, you only know what you know. So especially for our international trade shows, not a lot of them, of course, know about the Northern Territory. So it's so important, the work that these guys do, to be front of mind, to put the destination on the map. So they do a great job heading over.
You can, sorry, it's just, you can also see the word association there a lot. Just back to Gab's earlier slide about the markets. Association market is probably our stronger, gives us stronger returns than corporate incentives. So we do tend to gear our activities more toward that market.
Association.
Yep, associations. Yep.
So you got any top tips for us?
I feel like we've weaved those in the whole way.
Well, I've got some. So thank you, ladies. I really appreciate you guys coming in and giving your insight, knowledge. Talking of knowledge, of course, we're going to share some resources with you guys. Some is just data and information if you want to have a look at, so the 2030 strategy. We've also got some listings that some websites that will take you to listings of events. I dare say the most integral one is to make sure you do jump onto NTBE's website so you can check out Destination NTBE. Have a play around just to explore a little bit more about what the team does and what the field looks like, and, you know, the additional exposure your product could have on their website. But I thought I would just, I guess, wrap it up with a few key takeaways and then open it up for questions if anybody has any. But I really hope you're taking away how important business events is to the overall economy in the Northern Territory, especially with the fact that, you know, it's the shorter period with double the investment that comes back in. The next workshop will be really integral for those thinking about how to get into this space. So, yeah, definitely keep thinking about it. Reach out to the team, reach out to myself, reach out to Tourism Top End. We're talking all the time. Just to see where your products could fit in. But if you really want to develop in this stage, then please make sure you jump onto our next product development workshop. And I cannot stress the importance of connecting and networking with the team, with clients, with those that work in this space, and with your colleagues. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So these guys do know a fair bit of product. They work tirelessly to work with as much of the industry as possible, but they may not know if you've got a new experience or something that does play in this world. So reach out to them, maybe not inundate them, but you know, make sure that you've got that business experience ready to go. before you reach out to them. But I'm sure they're always happy for a chat as well.
Always.
So do we have any questions coming from the room, coming from online? That's great. That means I've done a really great job of explaining business events to everybody. Well, thank you so much to everyone who's been online. I'm actually hoping afterwards, if it's okay with you guys, to share the prospectus when it's out as well.
Absolutely.
So that could still be could be in the next couple of days, or it could be in the next couple of weeks. So ideally we'll share that prospectus. If you're looking at going to any trade event that relates to business events. Oh yeah, we have something on the chat there.
David Lexus, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, David. Thank you.
It says amazing.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Oh,
Thanks,
very good.
thanks for joining us. Do truly hope to see everybody at the next workshop, and always such an evolving space, so many things to learn, but we've got a beautiful destination. So, I know when people come up for the business events world, they really have their eyes opened, and I think repeat visitation is really so key to the Northern Territory. So thank you for all providing such amazing experiences and joining us today. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Gab.
Tonya, Vicky, Amy, Mandy, Troy all say thanks team.
Oh, thank you. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And happy birthday, Rowdy.
Happy birthday, Rowdy.
Beer's cold yet? Or what?
Thanks, guys.
Go to the cab, mate.